best gingerbread race ever. Tiny Tissa knew he was the underdog, but he dreamed of winning in the great gingerbread race ever. Since his first day out of the oven, he practiced running laps around his hot chocolate pond and leaping over stacks of marshmallows. Now it was finally his time to shine. With the toot of a lollipop whistle, the races were off. Tiny Tessa was already far behind, but he didn't let that get him down. He ran, he skipped, and hopped until he noticed something odd up ahead. Sprinkled Toes and Cotton Candy Yeti were stuck together and surrounded by a sea of sprinkles. "Oh, my frosting, what happened here?" asked Tiny Tissa. "Cotton Candy Yeti trapped on my sprinkles and landed right on top of me," said Sprinkle Toes. This was the perfect time for Tiny Tissa to get ahead, but he looked down at his big shiny heart, and his tiny feet were perfect for tiptoeing around sprinkles without slipping. Then he pulled Sprinkle Toes free. Using his shimmery icing, he made her a pair of shoes to keep her sprinkles from spilling and Yeti from falling. Then they all raced off together until— "Oh, my frosting, what happened here?" asked Tiny Tissa. "I can't stop laughing. Those butterscotch birds won't stop telling jokes." Lucky said, "I tried to dodge her gumdrops, but got tangled up instead." This was the perfect time for Tiny Tissa to get ahead, but he looked down to his big shiny heart, and Tiny Tissa's hands were perfect to undo, and even they could not. "Yippee, my legs are free." Cotton Candy Yeti stuffed big tubs of blue fluff and giggle in Gumdrop's ears. "I can't hear any more jokes." Then they all raced off together until it was none other than Bubble Gumberry stuck in a peppermint tree. "Oh, my frosting, what happened here?" asked Tiny Tissa. "I bounced so high I landed in this tree, and now I am stuck." This was the perfect time for Tiny Tissa to get ahead, but he looked down at his big shiny heart, and Tiny Tissa was light enough to be easily lifted to the top of the tree. Then he ninja chopped Bubblegum Berry free. "Hooray, I get to bounce another day." Then they all raced off together until they came across a wagon root beer river with the finish line just on the other side. "What on egg's earth are we to do?" asked Sprinkle Toes. Tiny Tissa already knew. They tied one end of a long piece of licorice to a donut tree, landing with a squish on a marshmallow bush. "Hooray!" He tied the other end to a tall lollipop. Then with a hoot and a holler, the others quickly followed, and everyone landed. They looked towards the finish line. But who should win the race? I'd still be a tangled mess of looking. If it weren't for Tiny Tissa, I'd still be spewing sprinkles. I'd still be giggling up a stone. I'd still be stuck in that tree. But That wasn't just me, Tiny Tissue, said Tiny Tissue. Then that was a whole lot of we. I've got one more idea, something that crowd will never expect. They crossed the finish line together. The announcer cheered. It was the best gingerbread race ever. You are all winners, thanks to Tiny Tissue's big heart.